Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about Baron Zemo, and this is the second one. So this is Helmut, and I've always loved this character because even though stories that involve him are always insanely convoluted, not as bad as stories with Kang, Baron Zemo is a very layered character. Over the years, they have made him a character that is very conflicted. Like, he has this insane ego. He does have like a certain level of honor to him. He's cruel and cunning. Well written. He is very much a hero to his own story. So without further ado, let's get into this character sheet. So for his powers and abilities, his intelligence is gifted. His strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, all are normal. His reflexes are on the level of an athlete. Now, for his fighting skills, it establishes that he has trained and knows quite a bit of different types of fighting styles. But he has very little experience in fighting in the first place. Now, for other skills and abilities, here it's established that he has like sort of a certain level of intuitive genius relative to questions of science. It is also established that he's an expert marksman and a pretty good pilot. So Zemo's first appearance was in Captain America issue 168, where he takes up the moniker of Phoenix. So I guess Zemo was the first Phoenix, at least in Marvel canon. And obviously he was never the host of the Phoenix Force. He just took up the name. And the thing is that he's able to capture Captain America. He wants to take vengeance on him because he makes him responsible for the death of his father, Heinrich Zemo, who goes all the way back to the Second World War. He was one of Cap's arch nemesis from back then, and the one responsible for the death of the original Bucky. He had resurfaced in the Silver Age and was the founder of the first Masters of Evil, which had had many confrontations with the early Avengers. But let's get back to Helmut. The thing is that at the end of that story, he falls into a vat of adhesive X, and it's suspected that he had perished in his first appearance. But he reappears in Captain America issues 275 to 278, where we have Zemo teaming up with Primus to kidnap Captain America's childhood friend, Arnold Roth, obviously as bait to lure Captain America into a trap. So we get this second confrontation between Zemo and Captain America, and it's revealed that Zemo knows Captain America's secret identity. Then we get into this foundational story arc that really builds up the character of Zemo, which starts in Captain America issue 290, where Zemo encounters for the first time Mother Superior, who was the daughter of the Red Skull. So during this whole story, the Red Skull was dying, and he wanted an heir. He wanted someone to carry his legacy. And he really didn't see his daughter, who was the Mother Superior, as that heir, due to the fact that she was a woman. And he saw potential in Zemo. So then we get Captain America issues 293 and 294, where here we have Zemo undergoing this tutelage with the Red Skull. And he's part of this plan where they kidnap one of Cap's friends, David Cox, and turn him against him. It's actually a pretty messed up story because the guy was like a pacifist, and they make him into this bloodthirsty killer. It's pretty good writing because there's this whole underlying tragic nature to what happens to David. Then in Captain America issues 295 to 297, Zemo again kidnaps Arnold Roth. And Zemo with Mother Superior and Red Skull start torturing the poor guy. And then they capture Captain America and they really start messing with him. They are really hell-bent on breaking Steve Rogers' spirit. It really shows off the sadistic nature of these three villains and how Mother Superior and Zemo try to one-up each other in the story, being more and more evil, both seeking validation from the Red Skull. It is a very perverse downward spiral for both villains. And the thing is that in Captain America issue 299, we discover that Zemo's really not up to the task, and he sort of fails in each one of these tests that the Red Skull had given to him. And that the Skull would pretty much overlook all these shortcomings because, again, he didn't want his daughter to be the heir to his legacy. But the thing is that Mother Superior sort of snaps and she attacks Zemo, and she has like mental powers and she pretty much mind wipes the guy. But then in Avengers issues 273 to 277, Zemo's back. I guess Zemo was able to shrug off the fact that his brain was turned into silly putty, but that aside, we have this villain involved with a second fantastic story arc where he creates a new Masters of Evil, and he enacts this plan that, obviously, it's crazy convoluted, but he's able to take down groups of Avengers, and then he takes over the Avengers Mansion. The Masters of Evil almost kill Hercules. Well, he's immortal, but you guys get the idea. And poor Jarvis. And Zemo, fueled by his hatred for Captain America, does something incredibly terrible to him. He finds all of Cap's old belongings from before he was Captain America. And the son of a gun just destroys everything out of spite. And he even rubs it in Captain America's face when they have that last confrontation. Many years later, when Zemo was like the leader of the Thunderbolts and it was part of the superhero registration, he wanted to forge a secret alliance with Captain America, who was like the resistance against the registration. And during that time, he had 2 Moonstones, so he was like insanely powerful. And to make this alliance and win Cap's trust, Zemo actually traveled through time and he got back all those things that he had destroyed. And again, he wanted to win over Captain America's trust, but you never know if this is just honestly out of the fact that he felt really bad for what he did and he wanted to fix his mistake, or this was just part of his plan and that Steve Rogers during that time was just one of his pawns. Then in Captain America issues 357 to 362, we get the whole Bloodstone story arc, where we have Zemo go on the hunt for the different fragments of the Bloodstone, the one that Ulysses Bloodstone, sorry, sounded really redundant there, used to use that gave him immortality. The idea was to bring back his father from the dead, and this obviously led to Zemo having this confrontation again with Captain America. So those were the last issues that we had on the character sheet, but I do want to mention like other fantastic stories where we have Zemo involved in. Obviously, after the Onslaught crossover, we had a world without the Avengers, without the Fantastic Four. So we have Zemo here realizing that there's a vacuum of power, there's an opportunity. He reforms his Masters of Evil, or at least with most of the members, and he tries to trick the world into making everyone think that they're superheroes. They're called the Thunderbolts. It's one of my all-time favorite comic book runs because the thing is that progressively, most of the members of the Thunderbolts start like being heroes in the first place. While Zemo has this plan that obviously he wants to take over the world. And what happens is, as the series goes on, he starts to also like being a hero in his own way. Especially after being hunted and killed by the Scourge of the underworld of that time, who was actually Nomad. And the thing is, then we got a second Thunderbolt series where it was like a crossover with the Avengers, where Zemo is like full-on superhero at that time. And the thing is that Steve Rogers gave him like this really hard time because he didn't believe that he had turned this new leaf in life. And then we got a new ongoing Thunderbolt series where Zemo is still full-on hero, but obviously he does a lot of ethically questionable stuff. Again, we got the whole thing with the superhero registration and Zemo playing both sides. But after that, at the end of that run, actually, Zemo seemingly had perished because he had battled against the Grand Master. He had fallen through time and he started to like live the lives of all the Zemos prior to him within his own bloodline. So he learns what makes his family tick and that his family's history is not honorable at all. But after that, like Zemo started to shift back into being more of a villain. Especially, he totally flipped out when the Winter Soldier received the mantle of Captain America, and he just went on a full-on vengeance trip over that. But like after that, like Zemo sort of fell out of my own radar. Like I knew he was active, he would pop up in different series here and there, like relative to the Avengers side of the Marvel Universe. But I really loved Zemo's role during the Pleasant Hill story arc. That one was freaking awesome. Actually, the story is called Avenger Standoff. But the thing is that we have Zemo leading this revolt in this prison that should have been perfect. All the inmates actually got to live these idyllic lives and get a second chance at doing everything again through the power of the Cosmic Cube. But the thing is that this mental conditioning did not affect Zemo, or he was able to shake it off. And he leads this revolt. And then after that, we had Zemo's role during the Hydra Cap story arc, where we really discovered that Zemo admired Captain America and he really wants to seek validation from him. And obviously through the powers of the Cosmic Cube, like Marvel's past had been retconned, and it was shown that Steve and Helmut were good friends from their childhood. So the thing is, I'm going to leave this video here. I really hope that Zemo gets to play like a bigger role, for example, within the context of the MCU. Like I liked his first appearance in Captain America Civil War. So see you guys next time. Bye.